There are moments in life that change everything. For most people, it's a wedding, the birth of a child, or the loss of someone they love. For me, it was a single phone call on a cold Tuesday morning. I still remember staring at my phone, wondering why a number I didn't recognize kept calling. I almost ignored it. If I had, I would have spent the rest of my life believing my family had simply forgotten about me. Instead, I answered. A woman's voice, calm but trembling, spoke before I could even say hello. "Is this Ethan Carter?" "Yes, I'm sorry about your grandfather." For a moment, I couldn't breathe. "My grandfather?" I whispered. "What happened?" "He passed away 3 days ago. The funeral is tomorrow." The words hit me like a truck. 3 days. My grandfather had been gone for 3 days, and nobody in my family had thought to tell me. I closed my eyes and tried to process what I just heard. "Who is this?" "My name is Rebecca. I work at Harrison and Cole Law Offices. I helped prepare your grandfather's estate." I thanked her for letting me know, but before I could end the call, she hesitated. There's something else you need to know." "What is it?" The silence on the other end lasted only a second, but it felt like forever. "Everyone believes you're dead." I laughed, not because it was funny, because it was too ridiculous to be real. "What are you talking about?" She lowered her voice. "Your mother has been telling people for years that you died while working overseas." Everything around me suddenly felt unreal. I looked around my apartment as if reality itself had shifted. "I'm standing here talking to you." "I know," she replied softly. "That's why I called." I didn't sleep that night. Every memory I had buried over the last 12 years came rushing back. When I was 22, my father died unexpectedly, leaving my grandfather's construction company without a leader. My grandfather wanted me to help run the business. My mother wanted my younger brother, Daniel. The problem was simple. Daniel wasn't qualified. He had never worked a full day in his life. But my mother believed he deserved everything simply because he was her favorite. I refused to sign several financial reports that didn't make sense. Millions of dollars had disappeared. Invoices had been altered. Payments had no explanation. When I questioned it, my mother accused me of betraying the family. Daniel called me jealous. Within weeks, every conversation turned into a fight. Finally, I packed one suitcase, left town, and never looked back. I worked every job I could find: construction, engineering, night shifts, weekend contracts, anything that paid enough to survive. Years later, I became a licensed structural engineer. I built a successful career from nothing. No family money, no inheritance, just hard work. The only person who ever stayed in touch was my grandfather. He would send me handwritten birthday cards every year. Sometimes there would be $50 inside, sometimes just a note, but every letter ended with the same sentence. "Come home when you're ready." I never did, not because I hated him, because I couldn't bear facing everyone else. Now he was gone, and according to my own family, I had died years ago. The next morning, I drove 6 hours back to the town where I'd grown up. Nothing had changed. The same streets, the same old diner, the same church where every major family event had taken place. The parking lot was already full. Black suits, black dresses, luxury cars lined the entrance. I parked across the street and sat behind the steering wheel for several minutes. Part of me wanted to leave. Maybe it was better this way. Maybe I should let them keep believing I was dead. But then I remembered my grandfather. He deserved better than that. I stepped out of the car. As I walked toward the church, people smiled politely, assuming I was just another mourner. No one recognized me. 12 years changes a person. The doors were open. Inside, soft music echoed through the hall. My grandfather's casket rested at the front, surrounded by white lilies. I barely noticed anyone else, until I saw my mother. She was sitting in the front row, crying into a tissue. Daniel sat beside her with his arm around her shoulders. If I hadn't known them, I would have believed every tear. The pastor began speaking. He talked about family, about honesty, about legacy. Every word felt painfully ironic. Then I noticed something strange. A woman in a gray suit standing beside the front pew kept looking toward the entrance every few seconds. The same woman who had called me, Rebecca. The moment our eyes met, the color drained from her face. She wasn't surprised that I came. She was terrified that I had. She took one slow step forward. Before she could speak, someone behind me gasped. Then another. Within seconds, whispers spread across the church like wildfire. People turned in their seats one after another. Every pair of eyes locked onto me. Daniel looked over his shoulder first. His face turned completely white. the tissue slipped from my mother's hand. She stared at me as though she'd seen a ghost. For several long seconds, no one moved, no one spoke. The entire church had fallen into absolute silence.